Gold in 2024 will be hot. I've been right about gold for the past couple of years in my predictions. Will I be right in 2024? Well, we'll find out as we explore. It's not very often that I can say that I've been right about something, but gold is something that I've been right about for most of my time commentating about the precious metals complex. There's times where I get it wrong within any given year, but nonetheless, it's been relatively easy for me to predict the price of gold. And I'm going to go out on a limb this year and make a prediction that I think in many ways is going to be more bold than I've ever done before. But first, let's recap on what happened in 2023. From the research that I've done, as the year continues to spin around and around, the calendar does, gold's price has seen $2,000 an ounce around 42 times as of the recording of this video, and the year is not over yet, so let's just say it's going to stay above $2,000 an ounce through the end of the year. That means about 45 times or so, if my number is correct. That's the amount of times that I've been right about gold, because I said that it would touch $2,000 an ounce over the course of the year, and it has. It's touched it to, almost just over a twelfth of the entire of year. So that's kind of intriguing and exciting for those of us in the gold space. But nonetheless, when I make predictions on precious metals, I always make a prediction on where the price is going to be at any given point in time. In other words, I can be right one time if the price gets to a certain number and pulls back. I can still say it was right. And why? Well, because when I make these predictions, you're doing it for the entire year. So it's very difficult. It's just an educated guess at best, with emphasis on guess. So therefore, even though I've been right about gold, does not mean that I'm going to be right in 2024. You should not make any financial decisions or purchases based off of what I think gold is going to do. Because just because I'm right about something does not mean I'm going to be right again. I cannot emphasize that enough. This is literally just for entertainment purposes only. It's not about really feeding egos either, because believe you me, I've been wrong much more than I have been right about pretty much everything. But that's just the nature of the markets. There's a lot of that goes on in the markets that is really tough to guesstimate. You can make educated guesses, but when psychology is involved, and it is so often in the markets, including in the gold market, that's a tough thing to predict. And gold has been on a wild ride, especially over the last 6 months or so. And so that is where we are finding ourselves these days. And so let's get into where I think gold is going to go next year. I think it's going to go up. But I've got to be careful here, because in a bull market, and we are definitely in a gold bull market now, it's very easy to pile on and say, okay, it's going to be $3,000 an ounce next year. Or as I reported on a video recently, $15,000 an ounce within a couple of years. I mean, it's just crazy what some people are saying where gold is going to go. But in reality, we very well may have seen the highs that we're going to see in this kind of market. The reason why the prices are so high is, not only because of inflation, but probably even more importantly because of geopolitical factors. There's two big wars going on in the world now, and there's a lot more unrest around the world than most of the major media would like to report. We also have BRICS nations that want to de-dollarize. That is something that's going to continue into 2024. That's very bullish for gold in particular, as opposed to silver. But even more importantly is what these central banks are doing, whether or not they are in BRICS. And that is, they are continuing at a record pace to accumulate and to stockpile gold in their vaults. And that means that is that gold is probably going to continue to rise, or at the very least stay where it is. Bottom line is I am bullish on gold and continue to be. So for me, this is a bold prediction. I think that sometime within the year 2024, we will see gold at least touch $2,200 an ounce. And for some of you, you're probably laughing at your screen now thinking, are you kidding? It's going to be at least $2,500 an ounce. And it very well could. But keep in mind that the gold markets are on fire right now, literally. I mean, all-time nominal highs, as reported by the London Bullion Market Association, we're seeing now. It's broken a new record here. So many people, it is not an unreasonable thing to suggest that maybe gold is overvalued amidst all of these things. Because remember, never underestimate psychology in the markets. This is why I'm not going to make a stand much higher than $2,200 an ounce. And we may see gold pull back. I think we could see it pull back some at the beginning part of next year in 2024. Why? Well, because most analysts do not think that the Federal Reserve is going to lower rates until at least May. Maybe not even until later on into the summer, like June or maybe July, that the rates may lower. Inflation is still with us here. And the longer that they keep rates where they are at, in other words, high, and then that's going to put a little bit of pressure on gold and prevent it from really breaking out and maybe even pull it back a bit. And let's say that by about April of next year that the Gaza war is over, then, and if things still remain stagnant in Ukraine, well, that has become essentially the new normal. And a new normal means that the markets and the fear will subside. It's what we're living with. It's a new reality that they find themselves in, and we find ourselves in terms of the markets. So that is something to consider here as we assess how the markets react. And inflation continuing, and a fear of a recession. And of course, right now, many people feel we are in a recession right now, but a lot of it depends on the GDP numbers, and those GDP numbers and the employment numbers, much of which we refer to as the chefs at the Cook the Books Club, because they are, essentially. And how are those numbers calculated? Well, a lot of it is government expenditures that are contributing to the gross domestic product, that are contributing to a higher unemployment or higher employment rate than many of us thought we would expect to ever see in times like these. But in reality, Americans are hurting. In fact, people around the world are hurting economically. And that I think that is going to eventually bode well for this idea of stagflation, which we've not seen before in quite some time in this country. If we have start to see the employment numbers tick in the opposite direction, and we have persistent inflation, and there you've got stagflation. And I think that's going to bode well for gold in the markets. So we'll see. But I do think we could see the metals pull back some, and maybe even below $2,000 an ounce, maybe even below $1,900 an ounce, and then come back and touch $2,200 an ounce by the summer or late as we head into the election season, heavy election season, August, September, and into October. And who knows, we could have a black swan event, as we are seeing a lot of illegals coming across the border in our country en masse in such numbers that is raising eyebrows and concerns. If we have a black swan event, then that $2,200 could come very, very quickly on top of everything else that's going on here in this country. So we'll see how it plays out. There's a lot of different things and that could come into play, but I think some downward pressure could be coming for gold as an opportunity, and I think that later in the year we could see it reach back up to new nominal highs of $2,200 an ounce, and maybe higher. I don't know, but we have a long time for those numbers to make themselves appear. So that's what I'm thinking. $2,200 an ounce is my prediction for 2024. Now, I've been right the last 3 years that I've done this for gold. Will I be right this year? I don't know. I'm trying to play the safe road so that I can be, in a sense. But you know what? Part of me hopes it doesn't get that high because I'd like to buy more, but I don't think I'm going to. I think we're going to see it stabilize and we're going to find a new support as the year progresses, and that new support I think will be around $2,000 an ounce, and anything below that might be considered a bargain. But I think if it doesn't reach $2,200 an ounce, I think we will see it trade in the range of $2,000 and above throughout. As of right now, it's as I record this video, it's about $13 away from $2,100 an ounce. $2,100 an ounce. We saw it far surpass that for a couple hours during the night, as I reported in my Sunday night market watch, which we do every Sunday night, and the Asian markets open. And there's been some exciting times when that has occurred, and this was one of those nights. So that is my prediction for gold in 2024. Let me know what your thoughts are on where you think gold is going to go in 2024. I hope you found this video informative and insightful and educational and entertaining. And I would like to extend a multitude of gratitude to each and every one of you for taking the time to watch. And I want to encourage you to please rate, share, comment, and subscribe.